We are now live streaming.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Council. Welcome to the meeting of July 15th, 2020. This is a special meeting. I want to thank both Council and staff for attending. Just a couple of reminders on this meeting. This is a single subject special meeting, so there's no additional items on the agenda. And in addition to that, this is a meeting that we do not bill for as well. So just be cognizant of that. In addition to thanking Council and the staff for coming, I'd also like to thank Naomi Wilson, the board chair of Elm Children's Center. Naomi, it's exciting times and we're very pleased to have you here. And of course, Allison Hannay, the principal partner of Cornerstone Architecture. Allison, we're pleased to have you here as well. Jill will call the meeting to order at 7:02. Today's meeting is being held as a virtual meeting due to the declared emergency in order to keep everyone safe. We are taking this measure to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Although this is a virtual meeting, we will attempt to record, stream live, and publish in accordance with Council's electronic record of meeting policy. Due to the pandemic and the requirement for social distancing to keep you safe, we are not able to allow the public to attend this meeting. But normally by attending an open public meeting of the municipality, you are consenting to your image, voice, and/or comments being recorded and published. Today's meeting may be streamed live as well as recorded and published on the Southwest Middlesex website. Council number 2 on the agenda, the disclosure of pecuniary interest. Is there any member of Council declaring pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on. Delegations and presentations. Elm Children's Center is on the agenda. Naomi, again, we're pleased to have you, and I'd be very pleased to hand over the floor to you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. Thank you for having me here tonight. I really appreciate your time. My name is Naomi Wilson, and I'm the chair of the board of directors for the Elm Children's Center. It has been an honor to fill this role within Elm, especially considering all the changes that I've been able to be a part of through the process of planning the new Elm facility. In January of this year, we were made aware of the funding that had come available for the building of a brand new center. After many late into the night meetings, phone calls, and emails, we were able to successfully complete our proposal. The utter excitement and joy of Elm staff and the board upon hearing that Elm was chosen to be the tenants of the new facility resounded throughout all the families and friends of Elm. This new facility may have the Elm Children's name on it, but in truth, it belongs to everybody who has worked to make the center a reality. Allison, Jill, and Steve, we cannot thank you enough for all the time you have spent with us, ensuring that we were involved in this process each step of the way, answering our questions and emails, and giving suggestions when we weren't sure which way to go. Allison, you took the time to care to make all of our requests possible that we described in the video update last week. Elm Children's Center currently has over 40 kids on our wait list, including infants for the opening of the new facility. In general, we sit with a minimum of 10 children on the wait list at any given time, and with Glencoe situated in such a rural area, childcare can be hard to obtain without traveling to cities. This new facility is set to change that for our community. And with that being said, we would also like to recognize each of you on council. There's a saying I'm sure you're all familiar with: it takes a village to raise a child. In this case, it is not a child being raised, but generations of children. And the opportunity that you have made possible for Elm will directly impact all of the community's families for years to come. For 45 years, Elm Children's Center has prided itself on providing excellence in care with an emphasis on harnessing creativity, imagination, and a love of learning in all the children whom journey the bridge between the formative years and formal schooling. This new facility will allow us to continue this tradition while extending opportunities to even more of our little friends. Therefore, I extend our deepest gratitude to all of you on behalf of the Elm board, staff, and all of those whom will cross that bridge to a brighter future. So thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. Perhaps later on in a few minutes, we can direct questions to Naomi, but before we do so, Naomi's partner in this, of course, is Allison Hannay. Allison is the chief driver of this project, And Allison, if you're prepared to address council, we would welcome you at this time. And Naomi, thank you again, and we'll entertain some questions, so please stay with us. Go ahead, Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. I wanted to speak to you a little bit about the process that we've gone through over the last few months with the design of this project. First of all, in January, we were very excited to hear that we'd been selected for this project. Our firm has completed many childcare centers, going right back to the beginning of our firm in the early 90s. Actually, our first one was in Dutton, Ontario, not too far away from you there. So since then, we've continued to work in childcare, designing childcare centers as standalone buildings, as part of elementary schools, and as renovations and as new buildings. So again, it was quite exciting to find out that we were going to be working on this project. We developed the design collaboratively with Elm Children's Center. I should point out that we need to make sure that a childcare center meets the requirements of the Child Care and Early Years Act. There are many requirements that are contained in that act, and all of those have been included in the new design, and it's a reason for the size and shape of the rooms and the internal requirements of all of those spaces. So with that in mind, Mr. Mayor, would you like to walk through the design, or has everyone had a chance to look at the video?
I think we've seen it. I'll let the rest of the council speak for themselves, but yeah.
I've watched it.
Okay. I had been asked to speak briefly about the pre-qualification of the contractors for this project. When we finalized the drawings and the technical drawings for the project, we went through a process of pre-qualifying the general contractors for this project. We did that by advertising on the Municipality of Southwest Middlesex Southwest Middlesex's website, and through the London and District Construction Association. Because of the way the construction associations are linked with each other, it gets disseminated across wider southwestern Ontario. And to that end, we received 19 submissions of interest for this project from general contractors. Through a process of reviewing the information that they submitted and determining what their experience level was, we shortlisted 7 general contractors who could bid on this project when the time came. And again, we issued the bids in early June and closed them on June the 30th. We received 6 bids from the general contractors. From everything that I understand, pricing was very competitive. There was a lot of interest from all of the sub-trades that will be involved in this project. And there are probably well over 20 different trades that will be on site during the course of this project. The low contractor was Bernenko Construction, located in, they're just located in West London, actually near Hyde Park and Fanshawe Road. Their office is located. They're a company that we've worked with for many, many years. They have a particular expertise in educational buildings. So we've worked with them a lot through our work with the Thames Valley District School Board and the London District Catholic School Board as well. And they've also have experience in construction of childcare centers. So we're excited that that the tendering process went as well as it did. The price is inclusive of everything that was on the technical drawings, including all of the site work, which includes the extension of the sidewalk down to the Elm Children's Center site, the extension of sanitary services and electrical, as well as grading and parking and the complete building itself. Also included in that price is the playground for the child care center as well. And I think in terms of the only other thing I could speak to, I suppose, is the approval process. The building has been submitted for building permit with the municipality. I have not heard back yet, but it's been under review for several weeks now. And as well, it must be approved by the Ministry of Children's Services, and that is the overseer of the Child Care and Early Years Act. Thank you.
That's great. Council, Allison, that completes it. I want to make sure I don't take time away from you there. You're okay? Yeah, I think you've been through everything. I don't want to cut you off there.
Nope.
Council, we have an opportunity here to ask questions to Allison and of course Naomi as well. And I have you on my screen. I'm trying to help Mike out here get on, but I'm going to divert my attention to you people right now totally. And any questions you'd like to put forward to these two important parts of the wheel here. Perhaps
The deputy mayor has a
perhaps
question.
Allison, I could start off. In terms of the choice of the building and the site location, without breaching confidentiality, can you give us an opinion as to is this project going according to what most projects go, or is it is the COVID-19 delaying it and make it more challenging to proceed? Has the environment been a burden?
Thank you for that question. It was definitely a first for us. We had completed a couple of the design meetings with our committee, and then everything got shut down. And so we completed all of the design meetings virtually. So thank you to Naomi and her team for learning new skills, and to Jill and Steve for helping us manage all of that. At the same time, all of our staff had to be moved off site. For us, that meant buying lots of software and being able to get everyone connected, and as well as all of our engineering teams. So our structural, mechanical, electrical, civil engineer, and landscape team. There was probably a group of 10 or so people working on this project all over the place. And that was definitely a very interesting experience, not ever being able to meet in person to do that.
Sure.
I think up until the time COVID started, we were actually on a somewhat of an accelerated schedule, and we did lose a little bit of time as a result of having dispersed everybody all over the place, and just the kind of challenges of that. But in terms of a good product, I think, the drawings are a well put together set of documents. We heard that from the contractors who were bidding the project. And I think in some ways, I have seen pricing improve slightly since all of this. I think a lot of people are thankful for work right now. And we've seen, I think, the little bit of benefit of that in terms of the pricing that came in for the project.
Oh, that's good news. Yep, that's great. Yep. Council, I'll let you make input. We're spending a significant amount of money here. I'm sure you may have questions, but perhaps the groundwork has been done so effectively that we're familiar with everything. But Council, again, I'll ask you to entertain any questions to these ladies.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes, I see Councillor Martin Vink's hand up first, and I'm going to have to go to I'm missing some of these pictures. There, I've got you now. I apologize. I had some of you were not on my screen, and they are now. The hands I saw first was Martin Vink, followed by Deputy Mayor Wilkins. Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. But Deputy Mayor did have her hand up first. You can go ahead.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Wilkins.
No, continue, Martin.
Well, one of you could continue. Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
You can continue,
No.
Martin. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Allen. One question to Naomi. I didn't catch how many people they're looking after at the present time.
At the present time, we are mandated by the health unit to only have 8 children in a room. We can have a maximum of 10 people in a room, which means we have 8 children to 2 caregivers. So each of the preschool and the junior rooms have 10 people total. So we can only have the 8 kids, although I believe our younger group right now only has 6 as opposed to the 8. There are a lot of parents that aren't comfortable with bringing their kids back to the daycares yet. So we're hoping with the phase 3 opening on Friday, that might alleviate some of those fears. And we'll hopefully get those spots filled up again.
Well, I guess maybe a better question would have been before COVID, how many people were going to the Elms Children's Center?
Previous to COVID, I believe our last numbers, when we looked at the proposal, we had 39 toddlers and I want to say 32 preschoolers, which is very close to our maximum for that building.
Right, okay. And then I don't know who's going to answer this question, but of course, when this first came to our radar, well, I actually had 2 questions to Allison. The one was, I believe the tender bid, and can I say what the tender bid is, or is that a secret information?
I think Steve is going to address that in his report. Martin, Steve McDonald is next, and he'll be discussing the tenders, okay?
Oh, okay.
You can direct your question to him.
Okay, well, maybe Allison, she did mention something about furnishings. So that bid that was given to us, does that include all the furnishings to the building?
So through the mayor, the building includes anything that is fixed to the building. So sinks and counters and cupboards are all included. Anything that is considered loose furniture, so tables and chairs and toys and that sort of thing are not included in that amount.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Martin. Deputy Mayor Wilkins, thank you for your patience there. Go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that's been involved in this. Naomi, I know Krista's probably been a little bit involved. Steve, Greg, Allison, thank you very much. Certainly, I'm looking forward to this, and I know I've heard a lot of positive feedback from members of the community. This is going to be such a nice welcome addition to Southwest Middlesex. So my question is, just kind of adding on to Martin's, the playground equipment would fall under the funding. And do we know exactly what that playground equipment is going to cost?
Steve, are you
I don't know
okay?
who wants to answer that.
Yeah. It's separate. We have $500,000 to spend.
I realize that.
Furnishings and that, but yeah, Allison, go ahead. You may be able to answer that more than me. I'm not sure whether the selection has even been considered yet.
We don't have a full breakdown from the low contractor yet, but I did reach out to them yesterday to find out what that is. And they've told me that amount is just under $59,000 for all of the playground equipment. That includes there's some trike paths, and there's some seating areas, there's some shade areas, there's some maybe I should step back. The playground design is much more natural than having the play equipment that you used to see in childcare playgrounds. The trend is really to go towards natural materials and natural settings. So again, trees, sandboxes, water play, all of those features are included in that $59,000.
Okay, so that leaves about $440,000 for furnishings, interior furnishings. So I guess my question then is to Elm's Naomi. Naomi, is Elm expecting to bring some furnishings over as well?
So we have been, especially with the COVID, we have been kind of doing an inventory of the building. We have a lot of things that we could bring over, furniture items. But unfortunately, there is a lot in our building that is quite aged. So we have kind of put together a wish list of items that we're hoping to purchase new. And then we have some items that we are planning on taking over with us. We did look at bringing over playground equipment, the outdoor equipment, but it would seem that there are some issues around laws with playground equipment being able to be moved to a new location. So unfortunately, that's not something that we would be able to do.
Okay, so it's fair to say that whatever is deemed reusable will be moved over. Is that
Absolutely.
fair?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So if I could continue, Mayor Mayhew,
Yes,
I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to make
Yes,
a
by
few
all means.
points. So when Luke and Badolf was given the money for their daycare a few years ago, they were given 1.7 million by the City of London, and their project cost a little bit more than 2.2 million. So that was their contribution as well. And I'm pretty sure City of London did expect for Southwest Middlesex to make a contribution to something that will become part of their inventory and assets. So that's just a comment I want to make. I fully support the project, and when they're ready, I'll move the motion.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. That's fine. I'll call upon that, ask you of that just in a few minutes. Councilor Crothers, I see your hand up. Go ahead, Ian.
I have a few questions on the actual building itself, but that may be Steve's department. I'm not sure. Some
Well,
of
I
the
think
details.
Allison can handle it. Yeah, I would direct them to Allison, Ian.
Allison?
Yes, direct them please to Allison.
Yeah, a few things. Now, there were some issues with the library, drainage around the building perimeter, frost heaving. At one point, the building was almost inadmissible because of problem. Is there proper drainage included in the plan to mitigate that problem? Because that could well happen again quite easily.
Okay.
Steve's familiar. We've
Yeah,
talked about this.
Allison, can you take a shot at that?
Sure, I will try. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So I'm not familiar with the issues with the library, but I can advise that we have taken, I'll step back. There is no storm sewer to the site. So we have managed all of the stormwater on site through a series of swales and I'll call them a dry pond for lack of a better word. Water from the site is being directed to these areas. One is towards the east side of the site. And it's sort of a lower area where we can collect rainwater before it has time to dissipate into the soil. Similarly, the parking lot all drains to the south into a swale that connects to the ditch at Main Street. So we've tried to do our best to manage on-site water. All of the roof water will be draining to grade. We are managing that through a series of river stone collection areas to make sure that the soil does not wash away from the building. And the slabs at the main entrance, the concrete sidewalks at the main entrance have been designed as structural slabs so that there won't be any movement during the winter time. So they have foundations, they're tied to the building so that they don't move separately. Oftentimes when you go to a building, you'll notice that the sidewalk's a little uneven. So our entrances are designed so that won't happen on the site. Further, we'll be doing testing during construction to make sure that we have good drainage, or good compaction for the subsurface gravel, and to ensure that those issues don't happen on the site.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you very much, Allison. Mark, I see your hand up there, I believe. Go ahead, Councilor Miguel.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Allison, I think you said that servicing the site was included. So what all services would that include? Would you be paying for the telephone to come down there, internet, sanitary sewer?
Yeah, so all of the services required for the building have been included. Some of them have been included as allowances because like Hydro One, for example, gets engaged once the contractor is on site to bring the service to the site. But that is included in the construction cost. So included in that is the extension of the sanitary sewer. It actually ends several houses before the site. And it ends under somebody's shed, as you may or may not know. So we have to lift up the shed and dig to create a connection to that sanitary sewer. In order to achieve enough fall, so drainage from the building to the outlet at the sanitary sewer, we've had to raise the site a little bit. So that's bringing in some imported fill to the site. We have had to extend the water line. There's a fire hydrant just in the southwest corner of the site, just before the closed, like the Charlotte Street that isn't a street. We've extended it from that location to the building. The electrical service has been extended to the building, as well as Bell has been also extended to the building. As I mentioned, the sanitary sewers are mostly handled on site and graded through the roadside drainage system or through percolation.
Thank you. And Ian, last question, go ahead.
Yes, another question. The roof, according to your video, was to be an asphalt shingle roof. Has there any cost benefit studies been done on that compared to a steel roof? Not a fancy Italian shake type roof, but a steel roof. You mentioned one of the ideas, I guess, behind the design was a barn, which would normally have a steel roof. What I'm coming at is costs down the road, maintenance costs. Steel roof will probably outlive several generations of asphalt shingles. I used to do a lot of roofing. I have stuff that I put on was a lot younger than I am now, and it's still there. Has that been considered? Please.
Yeah, again, through the mayor, it was considered and can still be. It's always one of those questions about capital versus operational costs. And if there is funding available for it at the outset of the project, then that's certainly something we did consider. There are lots of other items that we considered as part of the design of the project, but realized that within the funding that's available, we're probably not going to fit in that budget. Again, it's something, if there is interest, we can have priced by the low contractor as a alternate. And like I said, it was considered, and I do agree it is a longer lasting roof. But again, we were trying to work within the budget available.
Okay, councilors, I don't want to miss anybody. And Steve, we'd like to get your input in here before we call a vote. Okay, Martin, go ahead. Councilor Vink.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. To Allison, what about the exterior cladding? How many year life can we expect from this? Because I believe it's a wood material.
Yeah, it's a pre-finished wood siding, referred to as hardy board, is the name of the product. It is the great thing about it being pre-finished is it does not need to be painted every 5 to 10 years. It does have quite a long warranty on it. I'd have to double check exactly what that is, but it was chosen in mind with the idea that it would be a very low maintenance product.
Yes, and if it's hardy board, it's almost lifetime. Yeah. Okay, Council, Mike, we're glad you're with us. You had trouble getting on there. It's good to see you. Steve, I think I'd like to bring you in here before I call the question. Could you add to the conversation? I know you've been intimately involved in this, and we appreciate your work. Anything further on this, Stephen?
Certainly, through you, Mayor Mayhew. I guess if we want to touch on the report that's next on the agenda, that provides some more specifics with regards to the cost of the project, the price that was bid by the selected and recommended construction company, that being Bronenko. So their price comes in at $2,686,850 and includes everything that Allison has been speaking about thus far. It was the lowest bid. With the nice thing with the process of pre-qualifying contractors is that we then know and are confident that all bids received on the same documents, on the same requirements, are going to be quality and comparable bids. One thing that also I thought spoke volumes to the price range is the fact that I think it was that five of the 6 bids were between their price and $3 million. So 5 of the 6 bids were in less than a $400,000 range, and then with the final bid being over $3 million. So it's not like there was this huge wild range of prices. Everything came in very comparable. So I think that speaks volumes to the quality of bids we received, and as well speaks volumes to the quality of the detail and the specifics that Cornerstone and Allison put in the bid documents, so that, you know, we are comparing apples to apples here, which is important. So we want to make sure we're getting the most bang for our buck. It's a big project, largely funded, but with some cost to us. So Allison has left us feeling very satisfied and comfortable with the fact that we are getting the best value for the community and for the municipality.
Thank you, Stephen, very much. Council, is there any questions you would like to direct to our facilities manager? Yes, Councillor Crothers, I noticed your hand just seconds before Councillor Vinks. Go ahead.
Yes, Steve, maybe you can answer this. This is kind of going back to my first question. There is a storm sewer catch basin at the back of the property, and there's one across the road where I'm told the overflow from the original water tower there flowed in. I'm still have my concerns about no subground or subsurface drainage. This is all surface drainage, and I'm concerned that we may end up with the same issue that we ended up a couple of years ago. Are those drains not suitable to be connected in to get some subsurface drainage, or do you know that? Is that maybe not so your expertise?
Through you, Mayor Mayhew, to Councillor Crothers, good question, and definitely, yeah, we had some issues with you're referring to the library project. So with this project, Allison has brought in, and we've had engineers involved, working closely with Public Works as well with regards to what we are inheriting in that area for drainage and options, and determining the best way to pull or draw water and drainage away from the building. So I can't speak at a higher level than that with regards to options, but I just know for a fact that we had an engineering dev eng on site. They were scoping, they were checking things out. So, and I'm not sure if Mr. Storms wants to speak to that at all with regards to assurances that we have the best drainage system in place for this facility. And I'll just reiterate the one thing that Allison mentioned first, Greg, is the fact that the slabs for the entrances are different than the library, and that they are a part of the foundation, and so more fortified and solid than perhaps what we had at the library. So that should help avoid that risk. And I'll turn things over to Greg, if that's okay, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I appreciate hearing from you. And Greg, we know that that subject that's been asked by Councillor Crothers, you have a knowledge on. Could you add to the conversation here?
Through you, Mayor Allen, the line that Councillor Crothers is talking about did feed an old catch basin that's not operating at the present time. So you know, that option wasn't available to us. The other thing that was something that the engineers had to deal with was the you know, the county's comments with regards to flows post-construction versus pre-construction. The county did not want to see any more water directed toward their county road and their ditching and their stormwater system. So the plan, which has been handled very well, was to handle the amount of water from the site on site and through you know, certain types of bioswales and that type of thing, and you know, getting as much to penetrate through the ground as possible. The other thing to consider is the building it doesn't have a basement. So sorry.
He's all right.
Kelsey. Kels.
Yeah. Oh, he's obviously not interested in our council meeting, eh?
Yeah, sorry about that. There's a lot of dogs in my house. So handling the water on site is not unusual. We've done that in many cases with a lot of the new construction. And I'm quite confident that that is going to be okay. The other thing is, like I said, there is no basement in this particular building, which kind of cuts the drainage issues in half. So, you know, we looked at all the different alternatives. I mean, there's a municipal drain that comes down the other side, but you have to remember also that we have a full-fledged residential development that's happening just on the other side of this building as well. So, you know, part of, you know, stormwater drainage every day is to make sure that we can not infect other properties, you know, with developments like this. And I'm quite confident that the work that Allison has done with the engineers there, that this stormwater management plan will work fine. The county was preventing us from putting any more water into their system after the construction. So it was pretty straightforward. We have to make sure that the flows going into the county road system at the front of the building are consistent with flows after the construction is done. And if anything, in some cases are going to be reduced. So, you know, we thought that a couple of the catch basins there were active catch basins and pipes were active, but when we sent cameras in there weren't. There were a couple dead lines, and you know, so the plan changed a little bit at that particular point, and certainly with the county's comments, you know, we have to go by what they require for their public safety of their roadways.
Thank you, Greg, very much for clarifying that. I appreciate it. Council, any further questions? Yes, Councillor Vink. Go ahead, Martin, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Ellen. Just a clarification of what Steve said as far as the price is concerned. There's HST on top of that, correct? And we get 78% of the HST back, if I remember correctly.
Through you, Mayor Mayhew, yes, the pricing provided does not include the HST as of yet.
Yeah.
Right. And just one more question, Mayor.
One more question, Martin.
To Kristen, please. The initial estimate was $2 million. So how is, we're probably looking at $800,000, at least 700, but probably $800,000 over the estimate. How is that going to be paid for?
I'll let Steve answer that. There may be a couple of options here, and Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll still need Kristen's assistance, but I just wanted to touch on one point through you, Mayor Mayhew, to Councillor Vink, is the estimate was never 2 million. It was just 2 million was the amount that we were provided through the grant. So early on, we knew we had 2 million plus the 500,000 for playgrounds and equipment, but there was never an estimate or a guarantee that the project would come in within the amount of money that we were provided.
Okay.
But then as for other questions, Kristen might want to touch on that.
Okay. Kristen, I'd like to take this opportunity for you perhaps to just comfort some of the council on spending. We know that this project has to be within the parameters of our tender and budgeting. We don't have much wiggle room here. And I know Allison will be listening to those comments, but can you give council some assurances that financing is available and what options would be in place?
I can.
I know that's an extensive subject, but if you could kind of paraphrase it.
It is. I guess firstly to address Councillor Vink, we do get you're correct. We get a rebatable portion of HST for municipal type endeavors like roads and bridges and things that basically no other business would endeavor or undertake. But the building of a daycare, we'd get 100% of the HST back. It would be, most of the recreation services are at, we collect HST and we pay HST, so we'll net those out. So effectively, there won't be HST on top of this. We'll get that back. Secondly, I think that we have 1 year left on our water and sewer loans with the county. And for those that are unfamiliar, the county offers interest-free 10-year loans for municipal projects. So my thinking is that we pay off the 2 loans that we have 1 year early. That won't affect the tax rate because those would come from the water and sewer reserves because they're water and sewer projects, so they're user fee based. So it won't impact the tax rate. So we could get an interest-free loan from the county for the $800,000 in the daycare and then pay that off over 10 years. So we'd have to budget about $90,000 over the next 10 years. We'd have to raise that in taxes over each year for the next 10 years.
That's great. Well, it's 0%. That's good. We we can use the county's money. That's good. Council, any other questions to Stephen or Kristen? Failing which, we will move on. Deputy Mayor Wilkins offered to move that motion that we contract Bronco Construction at a cost of $2,686,850.
Mayor Mayhew.
Thank you, Mayor Gay. Yeah.
Mayor Mayhew, if I could, I'm going to change that. I'm just wondering if Councillor Cowell wants to move that recommendation, and I'll second it.
Okay. I'll let Councillor Cowell speak for herself.
I'd love to. Thank you very much, Mayor Gay, for being so considerate.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Cowell. Seconded by Mary Gay. Last call for questions.
I just wanted to make one comment. I want to say thank you to council for this. My son is currently in this daycare, and so hopefully if it opens in some sort of time frame, he'll get to be there and experience this new facility. I've invited all of our board of directors, so they're watching this now because they all have children there too. So this is pretty exciting, the next step, and I hope we get to have a groundbreaking in spite of COVID.
Good.
And maybe I'm talking before the horse and the cart and whatever. We still have a vote to do, but.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Cowell. There's 2 hands up. Councillor McGill was first, and Deputy Mayor Wilkins will be second. Go ahead, Councillor McGill.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I had thought the same thing that Councillor Crothers thought about the asphalt shingles. I thought, gosh, we're going to spend all this money, and then 15 years from now we'll be redoing the roof. So I'd like to suggest an amendment that we ask Bronco Construction to get us a price on what it would cost to upgrade to a steel roof, and for them to include local roofing contractors when they contact subcontractors about what this might cost.
So Councillor McGill, are you asking for a friendly amendment?
Well, if you would like to do it that way, I guess it's Councillor Cowell's motion. So yeah. I mean, we don't have to do it. It's just asking them for a price.
I'm wondering, those questions, at this stage of the game, we may have the flexibility to make those inquiries without deferring the motion and stalling the contractors. There will be perhaps tweaks and adjustments in a project as it moves along. I would think Allison would be in the best position to answer this. Allison, you're still with us?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Allison. As you've been listening, the question of Councillor McGill was on the feasibility of going a steel roof. Could we, the possibilities of entertaining that question to Bernanco in the very near future, is that possible, and to get word back?
Yeah, of course. I think the important thing at this point is to engage them. So the first step would be to send a letter of intent and actually engage them in the contract. And then we can ask that question of them after the fact.
That's my concern as well. And to Councillor McGill, I too am concerned about that. And I would like to see, even in the landscaping, local contractors involved. We have nurseries around here. And but in terms of getting this on its way, getting our name on this guy's list, I think is exceptionally important. And we can work with Ms. Hannay through those suggestions, and I'm sure that they'll be reporting back and forth to council. Councillor Cowell, you were asked to make a friendly amendment. Would you like it to stay as it is? And we'll inquire about those changes later. What's your wish?
I think that probably makes it easier because then we haven't bound ourselves in a motion associated with it, but I'm sure our CAO could explain. I mean, I'm sure that when speaking with Elm and whoever, it sounds like we have enough support for that. And I don't know that we necessarily need to do it at this stage. I think this is the reason we started a special meeting today was so that we could move this process along quickly. So again, Allison or Jill, like if we could just leave it the way it is, I think that's probably for the best. And if we want to make upgrades and we want to pay for those upgrades, 100% support that too.
Yes, Councillor McGill, go ahead.
Well, I'd still like to suggest the amendment because from what Ms. Haney said earlier, she said this was possible, that we could ask for something like this, and the roof goes on near the end, so I don't think it's going to delay the project.
Okay.
If somebody would second my amendment, I would appreciate it.
I'll second it.
Okay, and Councillor, yeah, okay, I see that. Councillor Vink? Did you have a question, Councillor Vink?
Well, I just want to reiterate, I agree with Councillor McGill because things have to be ordered ahead of time. So steel, that'd be a big cost, and it may take a few months to get it. So I think we should have that right away. Look into it right away.
I think as long as the intent of the motion is to seal the contract, bind the agreement in place, and the motion instructs Bernanco to come back to us with some numbers on a steel roof. But there will be a letter of intent to proceed, Allison, with the codicil that we would like some information on this. Are you comfortable with that, Allison?
Yes, I think the critical thing is to engage Bernanco, so to issue the letter of intent based on the tender amount that they have provided, and then I can proceed with the instruction to ask for additional pricing on the steel roof versus the asphalt roof. At this point in time, technically we need to engage them in a contract situation to move forward with that kind of pricing.
I agree, and that's my concern as chair, that we want to engage them, and that we are their client after this meeting, if possible. Council, have I missed anyone? For further oh yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Wilkins.
Mayor Mayhew, I would just like to comment after the motion, if that's possible.
Yep.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Just for the benefit of council, I think any additional information prior to making a choice of motion is important. Bernanco has a 40-year history behind them, and we like them because they're a London-based construction company. They're not a Toronto-based construction company, so they're very close at hand. It enables them to be on our doorstep, so to speak, after this construction project is finished, should there be any shortcomings, and servicing after the build. With that 40-year history behind them, they have done projects in Strathroy. They have done the library. They have done the Middlesex Arena in Strathroy, renovations to that. They have done several schools in the London region, of course, Montessori, things of that nature that they have on their profile. And when I noticed the two tenders that were awarded to them in Strathroy, I called Mayor Joanne Vanderheyden today, asking her opinion of Bernenko, and she was very pleased and positive. There were no negative remarks, and she's had firsthand experience with her municipality dealing with this construction company. And just as a point of due diligence, I thought I should reach out to her and get her opinion on it, as she has had them do work for their municipality. Yes, go ahead. Jill, yes?
I would just ask if it's possible for council to consider two separate motions and not amend the motion, just get into the contractual arrangement first. And then if you want to have a secondary motion with respect to getting specific pricing on the steel roof, I think that would be cleaner, if that's okay with you, Councillor McGill and Councillor Carruthers.
Yes, that's fine.
That's fine with me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the motion has been, yes, Councillor Cal?
Recorded vote, please.
Yes, I was just going to say the same thing, Krista, thank you very much. Yep. Jill, I'll hand it over to you. The motion has been discussed. The opportunity for questions have been asked. We'll proceed when Jill is ready. And Ian and Mark and Martin will have a secondary motion following this.
Okay. So a recorded vote has been requested and by Councillor Cowell. So we'll start with Councillor Cowell.
Yes.
Councillor Vink.
Yes.
Councillor Bartlett.
Yes.
Councillor Scholdice.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wilkins.
Yes.
Mayor Mayhew.
Yes.
Councillor McGill.
Yes.
And Councillor Carruthers.
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Good, thanks. It's always nice when it's unanimous council too, and we look forward to that, working with Allison and Naomi on this. Council, there is a motion that an inquiry be made to the contractor to price out the options of a steel roof, and that it be reported back to council. Would Councillor McGill, Carruthers, or Vink wish to move that?
I'll move it.
Thank you. And seconded by Mark McGill. Councillor McGill, moved by Carruthers, seconded by McGill. Discussion. And who will be responsible for attaining that information? Allison, can you look after that for us?
Yes, I'll look after that for you.
Okay. And there are local contractors available that do steel roofs. We have done salt sheds and huge buildings like that. So there may be some if they'd like to be a part of the
Certainly.
tendering process.
If I
Councillor
could, sorry,
yeah,
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask that the names of those contractors be forwarded to me.
I'll give you those in private at some time, Allison, and Jill and I can forward those to you, okay? And Councillor Carruthers, I see your hand up. Go
Just
ahead,
a
Ian.
comment. With a steel roof, you're probably looking at easily, from what I'm told from roofers now, probably 3 to 4 times the lifetime of a lot of the shingles that are out now. I know one house that had 30-year shingles on it, and they replaced one part of it 3 times in probably the last 20, 25 years. So The steel is getting very common. A lot of houses now, a lot of buildings, whatever. So I think you'll find it's cost effective. You look over the long run, it's going to be more money now, but over the long run, I think it's gonna. It definitely should be an advantage. Thank you.
Yeah. There has been some technical improvements in shingles over the last 4 or 5 years too. They're getting into some more fiberglass embedded shingles and things of that nature. So they will have to but there has been some change. There was a dramatic time in the roofing industry when they were performing very poorly, but technology has improved it substantially over the last little while. Okay, Jill, just for clarification, you're okay with the motion on that we're going to inquire about the price of steel roofing, and you and I'll forward some names to Allison. We'll have to go through some directories, make sure everyone's involved locally without leaving anyone out. Okay. Well, Allison, thank you very much. Naomi, thank you very much. This is the first. Oh, we have to call this. We have to call this vote for the shingles. All in favor? All. Have we got? This motion has been made. All in favor of the steel roof inquiry?
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. Again, Allison, thank you. Naomi, thank you. This is we're on first base now. So we'd like you guys to get Allison. We'd like you to get us to home plate. And I hate to leave on a negative note, but because the post-COVID environment is going to be challenging for many municipalities. So we hope you can stay within the parameters of what's budgeted. And we rely on you to a large degree to direct us. And our deputy mayor has some closing remarks that she'd like to make. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew, for allowing me this few seconds, but I'd be remiss tonight if I didn't mention someone that's been very important to securing these dollars for Southwest Middlesex. That person is Cindy Howard, Director of Social Services for Middlesex County. She approached the then mayor last term, Vance Blackmore, and myself. I was warden that year, that her plan was to go for Southwest Middlesex to receive this funding after she had secured Lukens. And she did just that. She did as promised. She did her homework. She approached Elm before she proceeded. And I think she had their support and blessing. And she certainly had that of then Mayor Blackmore as well. Cindy worked tirelessly on this. She made it her mission. She is passionate about these daycare centers. I think some of us that have worked closely with Cindy see that passion. So I would just, on behalf of Southwest Middlesex Council, like to extend our gratitude and appreciation to Cindy. And I'm wondering if maybe we could send Cindy a letter of appreciation. And if so, I would make that motion.
Oh, I don't think it, does it require a motion, Jill? Can it be part of our? I think we can send kind words off to Cindy without bringing it to a vote. Councillor Cal, yes, go ahead, Krista.
If and when we do a groundbreaking, can we invite her to it?
I certainly will, without question. Yep, Jill and I will make sure of that.
So
I'd also like to, yes,
Jill,
go ahead.
Jill, do you want a motion on that or not?
I will send her a note right tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. And thank you. And Naomi, you're still with us. I remember when Cindy came up to me in the hallway and asked me if I wanted $2.5 million for a daycare center. I told her right there and then on the spot, I said, it's extremely interesting. And I'd say yes in a moment if I knew that it wouldn't impact Elm Children's Center. And so we're really delighted that you are our provider for this. We have enjoyed your 45-year history in our community, and it's really appreciated. And we look forward to seeing your group in our new home. And I want to thank Councillor Cowell too for being an intermediator between the Elm Children's Center and Council. It's been very helpful having a councillor that's on the board. And thank you, Krista, for that. Good night, Allison, and good night, Naomi. Safe drive. You don't have to drive home. You're already home, probably, eh? Yeah.
It's 20 hours.
Okay, there you go. Thank you again.
Take care.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah. Council, it would convenience the chair and administration if we could have the confirming bylaw at this point in time in the agenda. Then after we come out of committee, we can adjourn. So would someone entertain the bylaw of the meeting of July 15th? as
First, second,
confirmation?
and third.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Doug Bartlett. Councillor Bartlett, thank you very much. Any questions, council? All in favor of the confirming bylaw? Carried. Thank you very much. And would someone be kind enough to entertain a motion to go into committee of the whole in camera? Councillor Cowell, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Crothers. Mary Gay, I'll pass the invisible gavel over to you, okay?
Just
Jill.
let me take us
Oh,
out
Jill.
streaming. Yep.
Oh, we got to vote on that, yeah. All in